welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan, and I just want to roll in and say real quick, I'm feeling like a fucking crusty old man right now. It's just a weird combination of things. It's one of those things I don't really know what happened, but a few days ago I really fucked up my left ankle, and it just literally hurts to walk. It really hurts to walk. So I'm just kind of walking around with a limp, oh god damn it, and then on top of that, it's raining, so my ankle hurts a little bit more.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Oh, the cold weather's getting me joints.
Cold hurts my joints, and then I just got this new computer, and you've been kind of helping me out with, because it has Microsoft 10 or Windows 10, and I'm not really used to that, and you were kind of helping me walk through stuff. I'm like, how does this work? I'm confused. What's default settings mean?
I know, it almost felt like we did a podcast for 45 minutes or so already. It's like, oh wait,
you walking me through, because you're way more you have way more technical smarts and that kind of thing than I do. Of you just walking me through of what to do, and then with the combination of all those things, oh my god, this is a bad sign. I just turned 29, I'm not even 30 yet, and I'm already kind of walking around with a limp, having computer troubles, having to call my younger friend, how does this thing work? I might have to go get a mobile home somewhere in Arizona and go there when it's fucking cold. Yeah, get my rascal. Yeah, go get a mobile home somewhere in Arizona. So I go there when it's warm, come back over here when it's in the summer, because it's too hot over there.
Yeah, exactly. So you even out the temperatures and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today I went to experience what the 90s was like one more time in a frozen form of somewhat deliciousness. I had one of those frozen surges.
This is podcast worthy?
This is. Well, it's surge, Surge is that thing that, it brings people together, You might not know a couple people, but if you were in the 90s and you mentioned Surge and they know each other, it's almost like you have something in common.
That really had to be just strictly a nostalgia thing, because I can't imagine a kid. I mean, I think kids this day and age, their parents at least, are a lot more health conscious, so they're probably saying no, we don't allow Timmy to have soda or whatever. But I can see that them just truly going you remember this shit? It was because I thought they stopped making Surge for a while, and now they had the whole it's a frosty thing. I forgot, you sent me a text about it, check this shit out.
Well, because there was a period of time when Surge was just it was ridiculously expensive. To buy a case of Surge cost $100 for 16 of them.
Jesus.
So that's why that Surge one being there when they put the frozen one out there, it was a big deal for the fact that it was holy fuck, they're bringing that back for some weird reason. Which it's really one of those ones you drink it and you're like, oh yeah, tastes like a Mountain Dew. I'm not really a big fan of Mountain Dew. Well, there was a moment in time when Surge just had this supreme. I don't know why. Maybe it was just subliminal messages towards children. They're yo kid, you gotta like Surge. And you're like, yeah, I do. It's you're gonna be playing fucking Nintendo tonight, right? Maybe Sega. Well, fuck it, drink a Surge. Okay.
It seemed kind of Slurm. It always kind of reminded me of Slurm from Futurama.
Oh, yeah. They had that one, too, that was supposed to be kind of in that same way.
Well, it's sort of Surge seems kind of because Mountain Dew, I mean, maybe it's just me. I mean, it's been here for a little while, but, maybe it's been around for a long time. But I remember for a long time, it was one of those things where it's just kind of yeah, it's just Mountain Dew. Have one. Try it. Tastes good. Then, one day, they reach this point where it's just it's some white dude up in the mountains, drinks Mountain Dew, gets in a stare down with a fucking goat, just puffs his chest out, and then he goes headbutts the fucking goat. It's Mountain Dew,
Well,
I think that
those are all the good old fashioned almost late 90s, early 2000s style commercials.
Yeah,
the extreme sport generation.
Did I think Surge was Surge was the one trying to be that, but didn't work out? Because I remember that didn't happen to Mountain Dew for a while, and then I just remember I never forget that ad. Just some dude, just some guy looks like he's maybe the bass player in Nickelback in a flannel shirt, just staring down this goat and just fuck this goat up. He just rams at it.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I saw that commercial literally 3 days ago.
Is it at the grocery store? I don't remember.
The price go on the
narrow it down.
Yeah, it was literally there. I went to buy something, and that was playing in the background, which is the weirdest thing. They just play. I don't know if it's it's their theme or whatever. It's yeah, we play retro commercials. Well, how retro? Well, 12 years old retro. Because they're not super old, but they're not super new either. It's a weird thing.
No, because it's one of those things. I remember, like, because this is really gonna narrow it down to maybe like 5 listeners. But in, like, the grocery outlet at the junction in Snohomish County,
Not a
there is
grocery
that
outlet, but the Price Co one.
Priceco, yeah. They play like a lot of the old ads for, it might be like old outdated ads you kind of forgot existed. And I remember seeing them like, oh my fucking god, I totally forgot about that one. But then they're
The
like,
Bruce
they had
Lee
like,
brisk one or whatever.
oh my god, it was Bruce Lee and Karate Kid one. That one
Yeah,
was
that's right.
freaky. No, there's that period where they had the brisk commercials, and they had these really weird, like, creepy, like, claymation. Like, it's like it's on like the computer screen at the checkout line. Like, aside from all the like, purchasing data and all that kind of stuff, you'll have this little window where it plays just random videos, and there's always products from the 90s. And there's this one, it's like Karate Kid, and it's like black and white, and it's like Daniel-san, Mr. Miyagi. I don't remember what they say, but they're so creepy looking. It's claymation.
It looks like
but their
Celebrity
heads,
Deathmatch is what it looks like.
yeah, their heads are so fucking huge and tiny little bodies. And then at the very end, like, Bruce Lee comes in with a brisk, and I was just like, oh wow.
Just like it literally looks like the most like sellout commercial for Bruce Lee. I mean, of course he's dead at this point.
It's like
but,
he had a choice.
yeah, but like you look, it's like Bruce Lee would be like, no fucking way am I drinking 70 grams of sugar to like pump myself up. Do you know how hard I work?
Like, I'm surprised his daughter or his I'm surprised his daughter or his wife okayed that.
I was probably like, the Laserdisc copies of Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, aren't selling too well. Oh.
No, Bruce didn't drink a whole lot of, like, high fructose corn syrup, but when he did, he drank brisk.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it makes me
He's
laugh.
the Secchi's man of soda.
A bunch of random.
Brisk isn't tea. I don't give a fuck what they say. That thing's not really a tea.
No, it's like gone beyond. It's like, it's kind of that thing. It's like someone's like, oh, I fucking hate tea. Well, drink a brisk. No, dude, it's fucking tea. It's like, you'll fucking like it. You like soda, right? Yeah, I like fucking Mountain Dew. Yeah, we'll fucking drink this brisk tea. And they drink it. They're like, oh yeah, dude, it tastes pretty fucking awesome. I didn't know tea was this good. It's like that kind of one.
Fuck it is. That's fucking brisk.
Yeah.
Like, man, this is a very aggressive, like, advertising campaign we got. The kids in marketing are trying something a little new.
They're going with that Judge Dredd approach of like, hey, stupid, tacos. I'm like, well, I don't like that he called me stupid, but I do like tacos.
Got mixed feelings, but tacos outweigh hurtful words.
I know. Well, kind of like in a sadder moment, like I was watching the other day, I went to go watch Galaxy Quest, and I'm like, I've been wanting to watch this movie for a while. And I was like, dude, this is a great movie. I was trying to tell my girlfriend, I was like, you gotta watch it. It's got fucking Tim Allen in it. It's got Sigourney Weaver. It fucking even had Justin Long. But then I get to him like, and it also has Alan Rickman, and he does such a fucking awesome job. And we're watching the movie, and then the next day I wake up and I look online, and it's like, oh, Alan Rickman died. I just watched him last night, and he also died at 69 too, which is a weird thing because David Bowie died at 69. I'm not tying these all together, but cancer.
It's a bad week to be. It's a bad week to be British and famous.
I know it is, and it's just one of those ones. I was so excited because I haven't watched Galaxy Quest for a long time, and I was looking for it, and they had like on Amazon. It's like I think I want to spend $15. Then all of a sudden they whipped it on Netflix. All of a sudden, a couple weeks ago. So I was like, oh, dude, I got to watch this one again because that's a great movie. And it's
Galaxy Quest. Go ahead.
I would say it was kind of one of those movies like it came out and it sort of got forgotten really quickly. It was just sort of like the only people that really I think liked it was like our generation for some reason. Like we really got into it because it was like, dude, it's Tim Allen from like Tool Time and Toy Story. So like, of course, like watched anything like that. And then later on, it kind of I think finally got spread around that the people that like Star Trek a lot. They rate that movie as like one of the top 10 Star Trek films. It's not even a Star Trek film, but that's how good people like it.
I think it's one of the I saw that movie in theaters.
So did I.
And it's one of those movies I wasn't even into Star Trek, but I liked the movie enough. I thought it was funny enough. It was a science fiction movie. Yeah, I had Tim Allen. My thing was like, oh yeah, Tim the Toolman Taylor and Buzz Lightyear. That was my thought process.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now Home Improvement is like really looked down upon by a lot of people. Like, oh, that was such a stupid show.
That's a great show. What the fuck are people like?
No, I'm not
families
saying
in the 90s. Fuck them up their stupid fucking 90s haircut life.
I'm not saying they were. That's what a lot of people say. Okay, I'm not
people.
One of those people jumping on the bandwagon. That's just one of those things. It's
right
kind of like
I feel like cracking open a brisk and fucking kicking someone in the face.
Right after your surge.
Yeah, after my surge. But maybe that's why I'm so like feisty and like angry right now. Just fucking, I'm all surged up. And I even asked for a small one. The lady's
Did you say I'm feeling? Don't drink Surge. You'll be feeling feisty.
Well,
You feisty bitch, you.
it's like I remember the lady too. She's like, for $1 you can make it larger. Like, no, give me the smallest one. I don't want to fucking. I don't think it's gonna be that good of a memory.
Feisty. All right, well, let's not detract too much, but Galaxy
See, it all
Quest
ties
is
into
one of
Galaxy Quest, Surge. That's about the same time period.
Galaxy Quest is one of those movies, actually, I found out by listening to Junk Food Cinema that originally, it makes sense on a lot of things. That movie was originally intended to be rated R, and then since they got Tim, like, it was even shot as an R movie. And there's even parts you can kind of see they say, like, fuck or something like that, but they just, like, like ADR it or something to that effect. And it was originally going to come out as an R-rated film. It's like, we got the star of Home Improvement and Toy Story. Maybe we should make this thing PG. And a lot of people are like, oh, this thing's going to bomb. And they just kind of like threw it out there, not thinking a whole lot was going to come of it. But then they had a cult classic slowly over time. And originally, the guy who was going to direct it was I'm drawing. I know he's a big director, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, and I feel bad about that. But the guy who directed, I think he's the guy that directed the original Ghostbusters, was going to direct it.
Oh,
but then once they got Tim Allen, he
not-
dropped out.
It's not Joe Dante. It's I'm drawing a blank on too.
It's from like same area, some like group as Joe Dante, but not Joe Dante.
Yeah, damn. Well, whatever.
He's one of those guys. If I pulled up Wikipedia right now,
He
or
did like
IMDb,
Beverly Hills
like,
Cop 3. Maybe I'm thinking that. Maybe that is Joe Dante. I get him. I get Joe Dante and like the guy who did Ghostbusters kind of confused because the same guy did Blues Brothers and stuff, right? That's the same.
That's not John. John. That's not John Landis, is it?
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. No, you're right.
It ain't John Landis.
Okay, well, fuck it.
Because John Landis did American Werewolf and Animal House and.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's John Landis. Fuck. But it's that whole group of guys from that time period. But no, like, well, yeah, you could see how it's weird because like Tim Allen seems like, I think based off like his original stand up, he seems like he would be a great like rated R like comedy guy. But I think because if you think about it, all his stuff in the '90s is everything's from Disney. He never does anything that's not Disney. The Santa Claus, Disney. Toy Story, Disney. Home Improvement, Disney. They're all Disney, like, products. And I don't even know, maybe, like, at some point he's done something but, like, Wild Hogs, that's Disney. I'm trying to think of something that he's done that's not Disney, but I think he's just been the Disney, like...
Joe Schmo? I never saw it, but...
Disney.
Or Joe Somebody? Joe Somebody?
What's that one, like, there's the one where he's got the arrow going through his head, like, Wild to... Or Wicked... Fuck.
Born to be Wild?
Yeah, something
Is it the one where it's just like, he has, like... apparently, my wife was pregnant with the kid, and she moved to Africa. And now he's a wild and wacky jungle boy.
That one. Yeah, that '90s favorite. And then there was that one where it had Jonathan Taylor Thomas and him in it. It was like probably Jonathan Taylor Thomas was like the bad son. These are all movies that like I probably have only seen once, and I haven't seen them since they like premiered. But they all stick to my mind of kind of like that time period. Surge infused.
I remember I don't remember the name of the movie, the Wild whatever movie, but like or Born. Maybe it was Born 2 numeral 2 be Born 2.
Are you thinking about the one where it's like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and like two other kids in the '90s, and they're like, "We're going out on the road trip, bro. Like we're gonna."
I know there's a monkey road trip movie called something Wild. Maybe that's the Born to be Wild one. But there's a movie about a guy in like a monkey or an orangutan, and they become like best friends, and it's heartwarming. And I only saw parts of it. I saw some of the Wild and Wacky beginning, which I barely remember, and the part where he's crying.
Is that
holding
Dunstan
the monkey.
Checks In?
No, I want to say this is like a teenager. I want to say this.
Okay.
Dunstan Checks In was like a little boy and a monkey, but they always leave out the fact the monkey, once they reach like I think age 7 or 8, that's they hit maturity and they get primal, and they're likely like as soon as he's like, "No, Dunstan, give me that banana," like just goes primal.
Rips his fucking arm off, takes the banana out of it.
Just starts
Dunstan
like punching the
checks
kid
back in. He ain't checking in. He's breaking in.
Dunstan took the whole building hostage. It's like just like calling in on like a radio.
He's got a gun in one hand.
Yeah, like he has a bunch of people behind him. He's just like, 1 second, I speak ape. They're trying to make it a very serious scene. He's just like, eh. He says he wants all the bananas. For every minute he's killing. For every 2 hours he's killing a hostage when he doesn't get his giant stack of bananas.
It's like Die Hard with a monkey. It's like
Yeah.
he's holding up this hotel.
And his old friend, the little kid who's scarred from the first one, has to go back and like go after his best friend.
See, and it all ties back into Alan Rickman.
Yeah, we got to jump back. We get sidetracked. Way too
I
easily.
heard something too. It's like, I mean, that's always the sad thing is you get all these facts the second somebody dies, which you feel like it's like, couldn't we have got those at some point? But I didn't realize that Alan Rickman's like first big movie was Die Hard.
I assumed he had stuff before that. Maybe
Well, I
that
was
his
wondering, like,
first
maybe
big
like
starring role.
all I heard was that it was like a singular comment. I was like, it was like one of those like, I don't think it said fun fact after it, but something like that. And I was like, really? Like, fuck, because he's like already kind of old in that one too. I mean, older than Bruce Willis probably.
There was one thing I remember. This kind of like I was watching Dogma one time. My dad walked in. He's like, "Oh, that's the what's he in? Like Harry Potter?" Just gives you this look.
No,
Die Hard.
Robin Hood and Die Hard.
Yeah,
Be a man.
I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, oh yeah, I know Hans Gruber. Yeah, but
Everybody always goes to Harry Potter, and I always kind of, for me, it's like I always just think of him. Strangely
Gruber.
enough, I think Hans Gruber, or to the first one that comes to my mind is I always think of Robin Hood. Because as a kid, I watched Prince of Thieves so much. And I was like, oh, he's the sheriff of Nottingham who gets like raped by the old lady. But as a kid, you're like, I don't know what's going on. You're like, no.
So
that lady's like, if you do it, I get you. It's like they added this really weird character in it. Which, you know what's another sad thing? Another Robin Hood died too. Or character of Robin Hood. The guy who played Robin Hood in the Disney cartoon died.
Oh, the voice actor?
Yeah.
That's why I saw so many pictures of that fox everywhere. Okay.
So I was like, oh man, people are dying left and right.
Well, I'll say that like we should probably just stick down. We'll get to everything, but like no, but Galaxy Quest though that was a movie that was intended originally not to be rated R and be like this kind of big comedy, but then like they didn't have a whole lot of faith in it. It was PG, it just kind of slid by the wayside. Then
Well, it's PG-13.
It's PG.
Is it really?
It's PG.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Anyway, and then it looks like a PG-13 movie, but it's PG. There's even parts like there's a part like there's the guy that plays the guy that plays Monk is in the movie, right? He's the teleporter guy.
Yeah, he's in there too. It's kind of there's a lot of people I was like, oh fuck, Tony Shalhoub.
He actually here's a funny thing because later in that movie, that character just kind of seems kind of like out of it, like he's not entirely sure what's going on. Mm-hmm. Originally, the reason why that is because they implied he was a drug addict.
Well, because he's always standing there and he's like sweating and everything, and he's always like, "Yeah, we got to do this and that," and well, they told us.
And right before they get teleported, he actually did a hit of something. So when he lands there and he's behind, he says like, "That was a wild trip, man." You know?
Oh yeah, that's right. And he's the only guy when they go into space. Who, like, when everybody's standing there, like, oh, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? He's like, what's wrong with those guys?
Yeah,
exactly. like, it's totally normal.
Doesn't that make a lot more sense
It
now?
does. No, because, yeah, there was a bunch of good stuff I got from that podcast, like, when they talked about that movie.
Oh, you heard that one? Okay.
Yeah, I heard that one. Mm-hmm. But, no, I
wish they come out with the R-rated director's cut for it.
They really should. If they have the footage, it's like, that's one thing of, like, there's certain movies out there, it's like, if you have all this footage, why don't you fucking just like release it? Like what's with holding on to it when the movie's already like 20 years old almost? Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of movies out there that's just like, are you guys gonna keep that in your Yeah, we're not gonna fucking release it. Just gonna sit here and might pee on it later. Fuck you. And like
just out of domination.
Yeah. But that movie too, it's like it makes kind of sense like why that one wasn't rated R in like that time period of the 90s, because 90s it's not known for a copious amount of like rated R like big comedy movies like that, because that was the time when they it's sort of not like I say it in a bad way, but it is sort of like a little bit of dumbed down films at that time period. Where like, let's just keep it softer. Don't need to make it too edgy. Don't want to scare anybody away. But in that movie, I think it's like, don't get me wrong. Now no, it's like knowing that there is like footage out there that could exist to make it like a radar one. I would love to just see like what the extended cut of that is, or director's cut, or whatever. But as the movie itself, I really like it how it is.
And Alan Rickman, the whole cast is good in that movie, but Alan Rickman is like, he's one of the best parts of it. How he's playing like this Shakespearean actor who just took it as a quick job, and now
that's
he's
all
kind of
he's
stuck
known as
in that role. And then like they later you see him over at the at the whole like they're at some like Fourth of July big like car sales event, and he's all like they're all saying like, oh gee, if back in the future we would sure like to have cars like this, and he's like walks up with no emotion. By Garthor's hammer, what a savings! And they like cut the ribbon or whatever.
Yeah, he just like hates that saying so much. And also, it's just like that role he's been stuck in. It's just
But
kind
you actually just you feel the part where he says the most though at the very end because he hates that saying, and then the one when the young guy who idolizes him dies, and he like that's his last words to that guy. That part's almost tear jerking.
it does. Well, this sounds weird too. Like I notice that nowadays, going back to like being like older, it feels like half the movies I watch are fucking tear jerkers anymore. Like I don't know what it is. Like I can't watch movies anymore. So like, everybody's like, it's so fucking sad. Like why? Why does he have to die? Why does that character have to go through that? I don't know what it is. Like
Well, it's like
movies touch me more emotionally. Like the older I get.
it's like when I watched like when I watched what was like Inside Out with my nephews. I have not cried since the fifth grade in the movie. I've not cried since then, or sixth grade. It was sixth grade actually, but the last but like last time I could think I came pretty close was Inside Out, and it was one of those parts. It was like, I'm not sure if you saw the movie yet. Have you, by chance?
No, it's Pixar.
No, well, there's
I'll get
a
around
part
to it
where
at some point.
it's the sad. It's like probably the saddest part of the movie, and like where they're basically in the part of the brain where she just kind of forgets everything, and she's seeing all these happy memories disappear, and the Hope character or the Joy character is holding on like one of the memories, like crying, like why aren't you happy? And I just kind of had this like, oh fuck, just kind
The
of.
kids just look at you like, what the fuck's wrong with Brian? Like, you but it is that thing where it's like,
Ryu's like, yeah, what the fuck?
yeah, Brian, come on, don't be such a fucking pussy.
I'll hot oak in your ass, bitch. But I am at that point though where I am getting a lot more sentimental on like dumb shit like that, and I like hearing Alan Rickman. I guess it's one of those things. When I heard he died, I was sad, but I guess now that I've had time to process it, I'm a little bit more sad. Right when you texted me, it was funny. You texted me, and my dad texted me back to back. As soon as as soon as I got the text from you, I got a text from my dad right after, and then. Which is the same thing that happened with David Bowie. Exact same thing that happened with David Bowie.
Yeah.
But I was still just overcoming. I was just still like realizing David Bowie was dead. So when I heard Alan Rickman, it's just like, that sucks, but I'm still processing the first guy. So give me a minute. Now that I'm actually looking back on it, it is like really sad thing,
I know. Well, it's like, David Bowie, I will say this. With a rock star, you expect that their life expectancy is not going to be nearly as long as everybody else. When it's just a regular actor, you're like, that's it? I mean, not saying that an actor can't go through, the same thing as a rock star, but you just assume that's like, they're actors. They got to take care of themselves a little bit more. It's like, rock stars sometimes don't always know better, like for the first 20 years. So it's like, I mean, it's no matter what, it's always sad, but you kind of assume that that's almost like how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And Alan, like Die Hard. So Die Hard was his first big one.
Apparently. So it's like, that's just kind of a weird one there. It's like, and then it just, and then he went off to doing, I don't know what the next big one was, but then he did Robin Hood. That's what I always think of. And then, all the other movies from that point on. So it's interesting just to think. And then obviously, I guess for like most people, they always know him as like Snape in Harry Potter. And it's always like, oh yeah, he played that. Like, even though I've seen all the movies and stuff, that's not the first one that always goes in my mind. I think of all the other movies he kind of did first.
And Dogma was.
Yeah, Dogma, he's in that too. But yeah, it was just one of those ones. I was like watching Galaxy Quest, and all of a sudden, next day, it's like, what a bummer. But Galaxy Quest though, that movie's just like, I just really like that one. It's a great one, and it still holds up well because I remember there's a time period when the movie first came out, people seemed to like it, and then I remember like in about the mid 2000s, there's people I knew that were like, yeah, that movie's just kind of okay, Galaxy Quest. Like they're putting it down. It was at that point of its like life expectancy. And then all of a sudden, it was like 5 years or a little bit more than that later. Then now this movie's kind of like this cult classic thing, which is kind of neat to see.
Yeah, very much so. Everyone kind of like, not everybody, but a lot of people love that movie now, and it's just kind of really fondly remembered.
Yeah, good old 90s memories. But a movie I also went back and watched the other day that I've been kind of wanting to watch again. It's like we had sort of like a sour like theater experience when it came out about 4 or 5 years ago. But Shutter Island.
Let's get it. Oh yeah.
That was one of those ones, and I think the main reason that it sounds so weird, but if we did not see Repo Man the week beforehand, I don't think they would have. I think that almost.
It was actually the other way around. I want to say it was the other way around.
I thought it was Repo Man first and then Shutter Island.
I want to say it was the other way around.
Huh. Well, whatever. No matter what, they felt like they affected each other in whatever way we did see them. But it was that sort of thing. It was like Shutter Island. It's like I remember seeing that theaters and going like, "This is just great. This is great." And then all of a sudden, it was like they had the final act, and you're like, "The fuck? He's one of them." This whole thing's just been like a dream in his head. Fuck this kind of ending. And then I just remember the same thing of Repo Man too. It's like, oh yeah, at the very last half an hour, oh, just a dream, fucking.
Not even the last half an hour, like literally the last 3 minutes.
Well, like it said, the last 3 minutes, but I mean, like the last half an hour you've been watching has all been like a dream. And it's just kind of those up. It was just that thing. It was like 2 movies in a row, and you're like, it almost put this big sour point on like Shutter Island. So in my mind, I pictured it as like that wasn't a very good movie. And then but I kind of was still intrigued. I'm like, well, it's still Martin Scorsese. It's Leo. That feels like a movie that if I went back and watched it, knowing that that's the ending now, it actually might be a really good movie. And going back and watching, I'm like, dude, this is a fucking fantastic movie. I mean, I will say, like, I would prefer maybe not that ending nearly as much, but now knowing it, it's like a Fight Club thing. Knowing that that's the ending and accepting that that's what it is, I can actually really just go in there and enjoy it.
Here's the thing about that movie. I liked that movie when we saw it, and I still like it. I haven't seen it since the theaters. But I don't like that ending. But I will say, because, I just saw it coming. I think maybe it's based on a book or something. But I think the whole thing, you're actually one of the inmates. This is all in your head. You're not really a detective. I think that's played out. It's kind of, we've seen that too many times. Especially, it's hard to do that again after Fight Club. Once Fight Club did it, it was kind of hard to get past it with anything else.
I get Fight Club seems much more different than that, because to me this comes across more. My best examples come from video games, but it's like Super Mario Brothers 2 or Zelda's Link's Awakening. Okay, Shutter
Island is basically Super Mario Brothers 2.
It sounds weird. They got the same fucking ending just about, except for more
Leo DiCaprio
and that dude. But
Leo DiCaprio is Mario.
But when you beat Super Mario Brothers 2, the American version, and it's just like, and then Mario's fucking in there in bed, it's like, and it was all just a dream. You're like, I went through all that shit for this. Like, now that game is okay. It's a little bit more forgiving. Like other games where they have that thing in it, like I want to say Link's Awakening ends the same way too. And don't get me wrong, that's a really good game, but that's the one where like I think Link wakes up and he's like, oh, you just been out in the ocean the whole time and you never made it back to Hyrule, and you had this fantastic dream where because you were fucking high on like seawater and seagulls and shit out here. And I don't know what it is, like when you put like the dream one. I always consider that just such like that only works for like maybe whoever did it first. That probably worked for that story, but even still, I'm just not a big fan of that type of ending. Now I'm not gonna like put down the rest of like the movie or the game. I'll accept it over time. But when you first see that, like when it comes up on the screen, you're like, are you kidding me? Mario has just been asleep this whole time I've been playing. I've been working my fucking ass off, and he's sleeping.
How fucked up is it if it was just kind of like you're playing as Peach or like Toad, and you have that dream? Like, I had the weirdest fucking dream. I was you, and I was fighting a frogman. We were in the Middle East for some reason, and just like, why do you do it? Toad's like, why are you doing dreaming about me? I mean, if it was you and your adventure, that makes sense. Why you dream about me? I don't fucking know. It was just a weird ass dream. I don't fucking. You died.
He's like, yeah, you know what? It was your fucking dream. In my dream, you were actually doing shit for once instead of just sitting on your fucking ass being a fucking mushroom.
Just waiting for me, just fucking waiting in a castle to tell me the princess isn't there. If I fucking got there, I'd look 2 seconds around, just see, yeah, she's not fucking here. Guess go on to the next castle. I don't need you fucking sitting there waiting to tell me. Fucking shrooms.
But
this is a slur in the Mushroom Kingdom.
We're going to take a quick break here, but now a word from our buddies at Painted Black Comics.
I'm Pete, that's Brian. Yeah. There's Lou. We are Painted Black Podcast. We are Painted Black Comics.
If you could describe the show, what would you describe it?
Horribly offensive.
Balls to the walls.
A good time.
I don't know. Unprofessional? I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Barney heard some screaming from next door. Right?
Hey, yo, Fred, I got kicked out of the house. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit?
No, Barney. We're not friends like that. You better go stay with the zoo.
Yeah. Dum-dum, you should have said yes to your wife.
Can you
imagine what Disney World would have been like had he lived longer?
No Jews. That's the primary difference.
I feel like he funded the Nazis in some way. I can't prove it.
The first fucking model of their helmet had ears on it.
Oh, the Basketeers coming over the hill. What the fuck's going on?
Dosan sounds like a Renaissance painter.
He was the fifth Ninja Turtle. He wasn't right in the head. They didn't really bring him out too much. I'd like to fight the foot.
That's probably why they had those stupid ass toppings.
Bubble gum.
Fuck, who let those Sans order the pizza?
I want
again?
stink bug.
Who put Legos on this shit? Can I give you money for sex?
I would enjoy making a transaction for a blowjob.
Can I get a receipt with that pussy?
Oh yeah, how do I follow this?
Do you wash those briefs with starch?
Make that booty clap. Why don't you?
Let's hear Randy Newman doing the song for Pompeii.
Oh, he's on the spot.
Whoa, it's smoke. Volcano. Whoa, it's the smoke. Vesuvius.
But yeah, but no, going back and watching Shutter Island, that movie, I enjoyed it way more that second time.
No, that's a good movie. I mean, even though I'm not big on like the twist, I will say the part when he confronts his wife and the part when the kids are out there, like the bodies are out there, it's like, oh God, he's all crying, carrying their bodies, and she says that creepy ass shit. She's like, they'll be our little dolls. We'll dress them, we'll bathe them, we'll put them at the dinner table. They'll be perfect, young forever. You know, just like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
That was all like, that was, even though I did not like the scene that implies that, okay, this is all a dream, that part itself, though, was really well shot, very unsettling, and very well written. And it's just kind of like the overall concept of just like, this is all in your mind is fucking dumb to me. But the movie itself, there's enough there to make it worthwhile seeing, and even I'd say even worth owning. I don't need to go out and get that one right off the bat, but
Well, I
did
picked it up
like
at Big Lots. It was just sitting there eyeing me, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to watch this again. So I grabbed it.
just Leo DiCaprio holding a match, just kind of staring
Yeah,
at
like,
you
look at-
like I'm here.
I can't resist a movie with Leo in it. You know, it's just one of those ones. At some point, it's got Martin Scorsese too, so it's like I got to see that one again. And it is one of those ones like I think like just like kind of the story idea. It's like okay, there's like these two guys. These federal marshals, they're going off to this island way up north by Washington area that's got pretty much this insane asylum, and they're doing this investigation. I think just the whole atmosphere, the area that they're at, there's like this little hurricane going on, and then sort of just like the dreams that he has all interconnected into it, solving this mystery. There's a lot of neat things going. I like how it's kind of like post-World War II, so you got this kind of thing of like, well, you guys were soldiers, and you all kind of massacred these group of Germans and so on. Like, how is that like... How's that make you feel? And all those kind of things that the psychiatrists are kind of attacking him with.
And I think that it's also one of those things. It actually, I like that it's a horror film without having to go to jump scares.
Exactly. It just has the light creep factor, and I think that light creep factor is better than any jump scare known to mankind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I'm gonna have to check that one out again. I haven't seen it since theaters, but I really did enjoy that one. But something we kind of skimmed it. We should probably talk. Unless, did you want to still talk about this real quick? Or?
No, I just wanted to say, I'm just saying, like, hey Ryan, go check this thing out again. Remember that like experience that we had that wasn't the greatest, but we still enjoyed it.
I think I liked it more than you when we actually walked out of the theater. Not trying to like measure dicks here or nothing, but I think I did.
Not like
I
Die
think
Hard
when we
5.
first walked.
We're both-
Not like Die Hard 5, yeah, but like I think I liked this movie more than you when we left it, and I haven't seen it since the theaters, but I remember just being kind of like, well, I'm not big on that twist, but at least the scene that followed was still pretty well written and pretty well acted and pretty like unsettling. So, but we kind of like just skimmed this and like earlier on, but David Bowie, when he died, that was like, we should probably talk about Bowie real quick. Like, when I first got the text about that, I got this real, oh shit, wow, I can't believe this. And then on my way home, I actually stopped at one of my favorite comic book stores, Comic Book Experience, and I was talking, the girl behind the counter was wearing a David Bowie shirt, and we just started a conversation about Bowie real quickly. And she said that he had this new album out that came out 2 days before he died, on his birthday actually, on his 69th birthday. And the album was called Black Star.
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of newish Bowie, the weird new age kind of like a lot of saxophones with like electric keyboard type stuff, and it's good. I mean, it's not like, it's not Ziggy Stardust, but it's good. But the thing is, it's more like a conceptual album. And she said I got to listen to it some more to really have some of the stuff sink in. But check out track number 3, Lazarus, and that will kind of make you feel less sad about everything. And I did that when I got home. I listened to that track, and it's really a kind of, it's not like, it's actually kind of a kind of eerie but very kind of beautiful song about kind of like, yeah, I'm dying, and I kind of made peace with that, and I'm accepting that, and don't really worry about me. I mean, it's gonna suck at first, and it wasn't immediately easy accepting this, but I'm here now, and it's not that bad. So the fact this guy knew that he was going, and he kept it a secret, and just decided to make like his death kind of like almost like an artistic statement of some kind,
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's that thing like, yeah, he knew it was coming, and he kind of like almost like interwrote it into a song, so that weirdly enough, it's like almost like that thing where like he lasted just long enough to get that album out, and then he was able to pass away. But it was like, because that was a big thing. I was like, oh fuck, David Bowie, like that's I've liked David Bowie. That's one of the first like kind of like musicians I was really into, like back in the day. Which always sounds weird because you tell that some old people, and they're like, what do you mean you don't even know David Bowie? I'm like, dude, I grew up like my fucking parents kind of like said, here, pick from these tapes, and there was a David Bowie one, a Beatles one, like a Bob Marley one, and a Rolling Stones one there. That's like how it started off, Eric Clapton, like things like that, Willie Nelson. That's like all the ones that's like my childhood music.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you just gonna progress on and find other stuff. But so David Bowie to me is like way early on. I think of like The Labyrinth also being one of those early childhood memories of like a fantastic film, and then he's also in a bunch of other movies too. But so it was kind of a big shocker, and there was 3 all at the same time. There was Lemmy, then David Bowie, then Alan Rickman, and they all died of cancer too, to top it all off.
Mm-hmm. Funny thing about Lemmy, and there all seems to be kind of like maybe like in rules of 2 sort of, because Lemmy, he like David Bowie, I mean, it's just coincidence. I'm not trying to link anything to this, and I think Lemmy was actually 70 when he died.
He was like, I think it's 72.
But Lemmy. Oh, really? Okay. Well,
which is weird to think
Lemmy
he's older than
actually,
David Bowie. That just throws it off a bit. But I guess
it does. Yeah.
But Lemmy was playing music in the '60s just like David Bowie was, so go figure.
Well, the thing about like Lemmy, I don't even feel bad for Lemmy, because I just like, that guy partied. He fucked so much. He partied so hard, and it sucks that he's gone, but I'm not really even that sad for him, because he seemed kind of accepting about it. He even saw it kind of coming, because you know what? There's like a lot of people are like, that's a very obscure reference, but Slash came out with that album. There's more than one by this point, but Slash came out with an album about 5 or 6 years ago.
It was the first solo Slash album. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, in every album, there was a different artist on there. And I got that album. There was like 2 or 3 artists on there. I was like, oh, the guy for Maroon 5, fuck that. The Fergie, fuck her. But then there was all these other artists on there
Chris
that
Cornell,
I did like.
and Ozzy Osbourne.
Chris Cornell, Iggy Pop, Lemmy,
M Shadows,
Andrew Stockdale from Wolf Mother. So there was enough people on there. I was like, okay, cool. So I got that album. And the Lemmy one, the song's called Dr. Alibi, and it's just kind of like saying, kind of like one doctor is telling him to just kind of like, you got to stop doing what you're doing. And then Dr. Alibi is saying, no, man, keep on partying, keep on fucking, keep on drinking. Woo! That's kind of what the whole song is about. Like, doctor says I got to stop, but I'm fucking not. I kind of forget, oh yeah, this guy was British, So, listening. So it's just kind of like, yeah, well, you know what? He kind of says it all right here. And he kind of lived that way. And it's just one of those things like, you really should go to the doctor. Ah, fuck it. I cough blood every Monday. It's not a big deal. No, you really should go to the doctor. You got cancer. I do? Oh, fuck it. Dies 2 days later.
Yeah. Well, did you hear that he was on Chris Jericho's podcast about maybe 4 or 5 months ago? And, you can't listen to it. He does have that, like, voice going, like, so you could tell that it's like, oh, he is getting old and haggard and stuff like that. But he still was, like, seemed good. And he was even to the point, like, this is how Lemmy is. He's like, yeah, I had to stop drinking Jack Daniels, but I could drink vodka. That one's the better one. So I've been drinking that for a year. It's like just going out all the way.
And he said something to the effect of like, yeah, at first I drink a bottle of Jack a day. They say that was bad for me. So I'd mix it with Coke. I'm like, that's actually kind of worse.
Yeah, the Coke's probably worse than the Jack, but okay. But yeah, no, I mean that one almost feels like it feels kind of like, well, you can kind of see that one coming. It's like it's more just like it's amazing he lasted that long. Where some of the other guys, you just kind of feel like, oh man, that's it. You know,
No, yeah, Alan Rickman's a little bit more surprising because I guess because he's just this really classy actor. So you think so like David, well, even like David Bowie's was probably past all the drugs by that point.
yeah, I mean
but,
that's probably still a distant memory, but
yeah, and he's always whenever you see him in interviews, he always seems like I mean he's gone through some weird shit where he thought that like the government was after him to like take his sperm to make alien babies or whatever, or like he control the microphone the remote control with his mind or something like that. He had like a thing on like a VH1 acoustic, and he was trying to be funny. He says like there was a point where I was like he had an acoustic guitar. He's like I reached really deep thoughts. I thought the government was out to get me. I thought this. I thought that. Thoughts like if I focus hard enough, I can remove the TV remote with me mind, So he was doing it all comically, but playing it like very straight.
But there's probably a period where like you'd go over to like David's house and he'd be really fucking full on serious, scary serious.
Well, I know that there was that period when like they were putting out Lust for Life because I think he became Iggy Pop's manager for a while.
Yeah,
I don't know the
keyboards
entire
and stuff on all those albums.
He did keyboards and he did backup vocals to kind of like, because he loved Iggy Pop and he wanted to bring more attention to Iggy Pop. He says, well, if I'm playing with them and people know that, they'll come see his show and check out how badass he is. So, and I know that even though they like, I'm sure they got over it, but at some point when that happens long enough, when they work together, they like had like, they would like, kind of like clash ideas. And like Iggy Pop, I saw this one interview, like it's kind of funny. Like when they were working on Lust for Life, when David Bowie would leave, like Iggy would call the studio, is Bowie gone? You just go in there and like change the settings, do a few things around, like, okay, he leave. And then Bowie would call, is Pop gone? He'd come and change settings around. He said he went back and forth like that like 5 times.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I guess Iggy Pop might be the next one, but I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of convinced he just might outlive us all.
I know.
Him and
Well,
Keith
it's
Richards.
the Keith Richards like way of life is just do the max amount of drugs possible, and you'll keep going longer and longer than anybody else.
He has superpowers by this point.
Exactly. But
like Bowie, I think that it is like I mean, it's sad that all 3 of these guys left, but I guess Lemmy, I was a little bit more prepared for. Like, it was one of those things like, oh, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. But it sucks he's gone, but, he had a good life. He had a good run. He seems to be pretty content with the way he lived. Bowie was like, oh, fuck, Bowie's gone? Fuck. Then I looked more into it. You know what? He went out like a boss. He went out like a badass. And then Alan Rickman, I just feel kind of sad. I mean, I don't really know enough about Alan Rickman. He didn't accomplish enough. He did accomplish a lot, and he's a great actor. And whatever he says, he was a really nice guy. Mm-hmm. So, but I think I was a little bit more unprepared for him. So when the news got dropped on me about him, I'm like, I'm still taking in David Bowie, still losing David Bowie.
no, yeah,
losing to as if I knew him. I'm still not over losing Bowie, but
But it is that sort of thing that like it just kind of all came like bam, 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 bam. It's just like, oh Jesus Christ, I mean, like
when you can listen to Lazarus. Though,
I know I need
Lazarus
to check that new one out. You mentioned that to me, and then I felt bad because I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot about that. But
there's other good songs on there, but they're a little bit more that like long 7-minute kind of experimental stuff, and it's good. I mean, I've been listening to it is one of those things because I went on Bowie on Spotify. Because of his death, that album is skyrocketed. Because before you'd go on there and be like Ziggy Stardust, Changes, like
just all the greatest
Under
hit
Pressure.
stuff.
All those songs would be all up there. Those are all like 1 or 2 of them are there, but it's all mostly songs from Black Star that are all the most played on his Spotify profile right now.
I know sometimes on Spotify I think that like the most played thing that's like they must like minus that out after like a year or so because whenever a new album comes out, for some reason that's always like one of the songs that's at the top. I'm like, multiple years of these other albums and this new album in 2 months somehow, some way has gotten more. I was like that doesn't make any logical sense, but okay.
Well, I think with this case,
that one's different there, but I'm talking about like
yeah.
I see it all the time on there, so I just think that they just either pump up the numbers or they minus them down at some point. It's a weird thing.
Here's a conversation I had with somebody about Bowie and like and Freddie Mercury. Apparently, when they wrote, because I didn't really think about this, but when they wrote like Under Pressure, there's originally another song they were writing And Bowie's like, I'm bored. Let's go get an 8-ball. So he did that. And then they come out with Under Pressure, which is this very passionate, like, epic song that just puts you in the fucking mood. But if you really listen to the lyrics, it sounds like it was written by some guys that just did a fucking 8-ball. Because it's just like, under pressure. Then it just like, all they're saying is like, give love a chance. And like, here's the terror of no, just like this very like, the lyrics, I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm not. Because that's better than anything I will ever produce. Mm-hmm. But it proves how talented those guys are because the lyrics are so generic. Give love a chance. Whole world, whole world coming under pressure, all that type of shit. It just sounds so generic. But the fact that those guys can take such a generic sounding lyrics.
But some parts there's not even like actual word lyrics anyways. It's just
do that for a part. And then like that's the terror of knowing what world is about. Then like that really right there proves how fucking talented they are. They could make something that sounds as much as gibberish as that and make it sound uplifting and positive. Like the world's gonna change. What? I don't know, but it means something.
And now Vanilla Ice owns the song.
Then he doesn't actually own the song.
He owns the actual song.
I thought there was like some copyright. He didn't get permission from Bowie or Queen about that, and they sued him.
Well, they did, but he ended up just buying the entire song, so he owns it. So he can. So technically, he owns both songs now.
No, well, whatever.
He was on a podcast. He was talking about that and whatnot. And
was he kind of a dick about it?
No, he was totally cool about it. He was actually Vanilla Ice on the podcast. I'm like, this guy's actually a pretty cool guy. I mean, I'm not like a fucking like hanging out with him, but and him and Bowie and Queen were all friends. It's not like anything like that. Even
that's good.
So, but
So those things. Sorry about that. That's okay. Just pay us a couple $1,000,000. Here you go.
I think he paid like $2 million for it or something like that. So I mean, but cheap.
So I could see. I imagine that like he'd be probably pretty cool. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I imagine Ice would be a pretty Ice. Like I fucking know him. I imagine he'd be
like first name basis almost.
No, he's if you're his friend, he calls you V. You call him V.
Yeah.
Yo V.
Or Vi.
Yeah, there you go.
But
no, he's actually. I bet he is a cool guy if you actually met him.
Yeah, sounds like it. Podcasts make you feel like everything's an intimate conversation. You see somebody in an interview and you always go, I don't know if I can trust that person. Are they right? Are they telling the truth? Are they just making this up? Is it an act? But on a podcast, everything feels so natural. It's like, you go like, that can't be an act. I mean, it could be for all you know, but...
Someone else we didn't talk about right when they died. I'm surprised we didn't. I think it was because we had Will on and he was a guest and we didn't really want to just abruptly change it and all that and other stuff. But Scott Weiland died.
Oh, yeah, that was another one, too. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck? And that one's kind of weird because he just feels like, once again, it's like, okay, yeah, we all know that he's had his drug problems. Like, that's like the main reason why we never got Velvet Revolver 3 and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, that should be your indication that it technically can happen at any moment. But at the same time, you're like, he just didn't seem that old. Because what was he, like, 49?
He was yeah, I think 49. He wasn't that old, yeah.
Yeah. And that was just, I think that was one of those ones we had somebody else on and stuff. And the weird thing, too, is that one kind of went and gone. It was quick. Where, like, other ones, I mean, I'll go wrong. David Bowie's, bigger and everything like that. But Scott Weiland, to me, maybe just to us, he seems like a bigger person. But I always just thought, it's like, Stone Temple Pilots, isn't that like one of the biggest 90s bands out there? Like, you think that wouldn't... It went quick. He went almost like he was a bass player for, like, a mysterious, like, late 70s band that, had very little exposure. That's, like, how quickly his death went by.
Mm-hmm.
So this experience, this is like catching up on death. Yeah. With Spencer Scott Holmes and Ryan Dunigan.
Who died and who's next?
Like, why don't we just pull out the paper and just start reading the obituaries?
Just get the local obituary. Yeah.
That'd be a weird podcast. Like, what's your podcast about? Well, what we do every week is we just pull out obituaries and read them.
There was some show. It was like a skit show on Comedy Central. I don't remember what it was called, but there's a segment called Yo Obituaries, and where they took like real. It seemed kind of like, look, we have some pretty tasteless jokes on this podcast. We laugh at some tasteless things. But the dude, as far as my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong here, but as far as my knowledge, the guy would take real obituaries from across the country and make a rap song out of it. And it just seems kind of like, in like context, if you made it up, if you totally made it up, I think it'd be pretty funny. But in like real life, it's just kind of like, that seems kind of fucked up to me. I mean,
A little bit
I don't
poor
want to seem
taste.
like I don't want to seem like insensitive or anything, because, if there was like a celebrity we really hated, maybe we might make a joke when they died, and I know that's not really that cool in the long run. But in this context of just like an everyday Joe or something, that just seems kind of like fucked up,
Well, it just seems like one of those ones, like, that's like something you do for like your buddy, if your buddy was like, real cool and into it, like something like that. But it seems weird just do it for random people.
Just between you guys, between you guys.
Yeah, just one of those weird ones. You see why that celebrity or that Comedy Central show didn't last very well, and like you can't remember the title.
I don't know if it's still on, but yeah.
But no, yeah, yeah, that's kind of what this is. It's like, yeah, our show right now is just being like the death one, but it's like, well, let's catch up on death.
Death. One day we're all gonna fucking die. Remember that, kids.
Yeah, 90s style.
Yeah. No, there is that point though. You do reach that. There was like a certain age when I was younger, I never really would think about death that much, because like, oh well, when we die, we go to heaven, whatever, And now I'm just like,
You're like, that's not true.
Shit,
They've been
what's
lying to us this whole time. You just
Yeah,
to
like-
the ground. I've seen death, and that's what it ends up being.
what if there is no fucking heaven? Which, I'll say this. I'm hoping there's something, but I'm not like, oh, yeah, there is for you. Oh, what's that? Hell? Like, oh, okay. But
I just
but
go
it's
for
one
it's
of those
like,
things.
I accept that it's just like you just died and you go into the ground. And most people go like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, but what you do is you feel the life of some other creature. A tree, a plant, something else.
Yeah, I'm hoping something happens after. But if not, well, I guess I won't know, so.
But
It just suddenly got very uplifting and happy in here, didn't it?
yeah, I just got to the point where it's like, oh, okay. What other movies?
Oh, man, they're getting deep in shit. I was hoping they talk more about dick jokes and throw Batman in there somehow.
Actually,
Maybe a joke about someone jerking off in the corner.
yeah, going to like my polls of like whenever we get to a sidetracked area, I did see another movie that kind of came out recently that was actually pretty good. I saw Joy.
I was curious about that because I know it's David O. Russell.
Yeah, well, it's like, okay, David O. Russell is kind of, like I like his old movies a lot, and then it's kind of like the last couple ones he's had come out. It sounds weird. They don't play out like his older ones sort of did. And sometimes I feel like they try a little bit hard. Like I tried to watch that Silver Linings Playbook one twice, and I just could not get into it. I just it was just that dysfunctional, quirky movie, and it was just like, there's just too much.
I liked that one.
I didn't like it at all. The only character I liked in it really was Robert De Niro. I didn't really find anybody else funny. I just felt like these people are kind of messed up and weird. Why do I care? And then then there was American Hustle, which that was a good movie, but people blew it out of the water, like making out was like the best fucking movie ever of the year. It's so fucking good. Like Christian Bale, like it's the only good movie he ever did. It's like, didn't you see Out of the Furnace? Fuck Out of the Furnace. Well, did you see it? No. But fuck it. And you're like, oh well. And then it almost it got to the point where I was just like, even though it's like I liked American Hustle when I saw it, but I always had that thing where it's like, fuck that movie. You know what? People are gonna tell all these other movies to go fuck themselves. You know what? Fuck that movie. Even though I like it, but you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but it's like, really, it's like, it just might be once like, if you think that movie was the best movie of the year, you must have not saw any of the other movies too much.
No, it was a good flick. I mean, I liked both those movies. I liked Silver Linings Playbook and I liked American Hustle. Silver Linings Playbook seemed like one of those movies that, like, when it first came out, everybody loved it, but then, like, within a year, like, you know what? It's not that fucking good. A lot of people start kind of saying and, like, talking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of movies, and maybe, like, when I saw it, it was, like, the movie already been out for, like, a couple of years or so, or a year, and maybe not even that long, maybe a year and a half or so, and I just could not get into it. I did not like that type of humor. It was kind of boring to me. I didn't like the characters, except for Robert De Niro. That was the only character that I could, like, relate to, sort of. Not really, because I'm not into sports or anything, but he was funny, because it's Robert De Niro. Well, cut to Joy. Yeah. Joy was one of those movies I knew nothing about. It was just one of those ones that was like, well, let's watch a movie for, like, the entire family. Okay, little Joy. Everybody will enjoy that one. It's got fucking Joy in the title. So, like, literally, I knew nothing about that. All I knew is that Robert De Niro was in it. What's her name?
Jennifer
Lawrence. And
Erica Sweetheart.
Yeah, and, and a couple other people.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper's in it for a bit and so on, but I had no idea what the movie was about. You could have asked me, but like, it's about a woman with sunglasses. Where'd you get that from? Well, that's what the movie poster was on. I have no idea what the movie's about. And then kind of going into it was one of those movies where it's like, and this is my favorite thing, because I sometimes like to watch movies without knowing a single thing about them. Because then when stuff starts to happen to them, you just start doing that thing where you're like, this is what it's, oh fuck, I didn't realize that either. Like, oh man, this is based on a true story. Well, I know what that is. And going in that movie, it's like, you had no idea what it was. Just like, okay, here's this girl. Seems, not trailer trash, but just kind of like, regular Joe, nothing special. Taking
Midlife crisis.
Yeah, like midlife crisis at age 24.
Oh, okay.
Like one of those ones. It's like
quarter life crisis.
Yeah, like early life crisis. There's three of them. You got early life crisis, midlife crisis, and late life crisis. Mostly people only focus on the middle one, but. So she's doing that, and it's kind of got like it does have like the weird like broken family, quirky humor that sort of the other one does, but it sort of works. And I will say about the first 20 minutes of the movie, I didn't know if I was going to care about the movie. I was kind of like, it's okay, whatever, not the greatest. Because it's kind of, you just watch her taking care of her. She got her weird mom who only watches soap operas. And then her dad moves back in the house, but he's divorced with her mom, so she just puts him in the basement with her divorced husband who lives in the basement too. So it's like you got all these people living together that shouldn't be living together, but they are living together. And there's like the grandma and the kids. It's just like a whole mess of like what the hell's going on. But then it turns out it's like she starts working on this invention. She's like, remember when I used to invent shit when I was a kid? And mom's like, yeah, you were fucking did stuff. It was stupid. And she's like, oh, well, fuck you, Mom. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But so she starts inventing stuff again, and she's inventing the mop. And you're like, wait a second, mop. And she starts inventing that mop that, you could pull up and twist, and it would drain out, and you could take the head off. I'm like, well, dude, I always think of my grandma with, like, those mops and stuff. And then I was like, oh, fuck, that's the lady that invented that mop? That's what I'm watching a movie about? And then all of a sudden, she goes to try to sell it, can't sell it in one area, but then she goes on to, like, the TV network of, what's like QRC or whatever. Like, the one that's not the Home Shopping Network, because that wasn't out yet. The other one. So she goes there, and then she goes on there and sells it, and you're like, oh, well, she's fucking a big part of this TV network, too? And that's where she meets Bradley Cooper and all this stuff, and it just keeps spiraling into all these things. And then it goes to a point where, like, she gets screwed over by the people she invested with, like, the guy's just ripping her off, like, the supposed person who owns a patent of a similar thing doesn't actually own it. So then she goes off and, like, has a breakdown moment, but then goes ballsy and fucking goes against him and gets, like, a copious amount of money. And then it ends with her, like, kind of, like, running this, I think she's, like, running the Home Shopping Network thing, and she's taking in people who are just like her. It's like, oh, I got this idea. I'm this poor, house mom or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I got this thing for this. She's like, well, I was once in your shoes, so I'll take a look at your idea. But no, it was actually a really good movie. I was actually surprisingly impressed with it.
That was one of those movies, like, I wanted to see it, and I was kind of curious, because they kept on, in the trailer, didn't actually show it was that mop. They kept on saying, like, this invention's going to blow, like, change the industry. I'm like, what's this invention? I was curious to know what the invention is. Now I find out it's just the twist mop. I guess it's pretty smart, because, like, most people, I'm not trying to be a dick here, most people, if you told them, this is a movie about the lady who made the twist mop, it'd just be like,
boring.
What? But then if you actually just go see the movie, I guess that's a lot more of an interesting thing. Just make it look like, just make it like early, like I guess, midlife crisis type of movie with.
Well, it's like a biopic. It's like it's almost like a standard biopic formula, but just like I like when it's kind of in like you didn't know. Like it reminded me of like the same experience of when I watched the movie Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, because I had no idea what that movie was about. I just knew George Clooney was in it. That was all I knew, and. So watching it, and then you start going like, oh, fuck, it's the dating show guy? Oh, fuck, he was a secret agent? Like, it's like all this stuff. Like, I didn't know any of that. But, like, you knew some of this stuff, and then it started all piecing together, and it was just like, it made this great movie experience. And that's kind of how I felt with watching this one, because didn't know anything about it. I didn't even like the first 20 minutes a whole lot. I thought it was just okay. Almost kind of reminded me of, like, when I watched The Deer Hunter. That was one of those movies where I almost turned it off. I almost turned off The Deer Hunter, which sounds like such a weird thing if you've seen the movie and you say afterwards, but it was just that long-ass fucking wedding scene. I don't like those. Like, I don't like that part in The Godfather. It's like, once you get past the wedding scene in the beginning of The Godfather, the movie's just a fantastic movie from that point on. But the wedding scene is just boring and long, and I just don't care. And that's how, like...
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, The Deer Hunter, that's kind of how it was, too. It's like, I like the part where they're out there hunting and everything like that, and they're getting off work and shit. But the second that they were like at that long ass wedding, I was like, dude, is this what the fucking movie is? Like, I thought they were fucking hunting deer and shit. And the next thing you know, it cuts, and Robert De Niro wakes up in Vietnam with a flamethrower, and he's blasting people left and right, and you're like, oh fuck, I didn't know this was what I was in for.
What's the thing about Deer Hunter?
I almost turned this movie off 5 minutes prior to this. I'm so glad I did not, because it's an amazing flick.
What I like about Deer Hunter, and I don't see it in very many other movies, it's like each act, there's a different main character. The first act is the wedding, because it goes on for a while. The wedding is a bit long, but the first act is the guy who's getting married. He's the main character. Second act, Christopher Walken. Then the third act, the main character is Robert De Niro, and that's the coming home and then going back to Nam to get Walken back. So And that's what I think is so interesting with that movie, because that movie won an Academy Award for Best Picture, probably some other stuff too. And I haven't seen a movie do that in a long time, where it switches off main characters between acts.
No, yeah. There's that's just one of those like really impressive movies. It's kind of like one of those movies where like it won a bunch of awards, but it's almost sort of a forgotten movie nowadays. Like I don't meet a lot of people that have seen it anymore, especially people like that are like our age or younger. It's few and far that have seen that flick.
I think it's one of those like
such a good movie. Mine's like kind of nowadays. It's like a pass around movie where you're like, dude, you gotta fucking check this out.
I feel like it's one of those movies for like you know, because that movie I hear about, like, oh, it's like Deer Hunter or something like that. I feel like it's kind of one of those movies like one of those like real marks for like film buffs. You know, if you really like, I think that among movie fans, I think it's pretty like popular. But I think other people, because it's not really, I think it's more like it probably spoke a lot for the time, because maybe I'm wrong here, but I can't imagine back when that movie came out, there was a lot of like, you know, movies questioning going to Vietnam like that.
Yeah, that's true, because that one's like 1978.
I mean, Apocalypse Now, that came out like in the 80s, right?
Apocalypse Now
Was that
still
no, that
70s.
had to be 70s. That had to be 70s.
That's like 70s. That's before Deer Hunter, I want to say. Still,
yeah.
like
So never mind. It's not the only. I know it's probably not the only movie to do it, but there probably wasn't very, because that's all right. Because Harrison Ford's in that. That's before he was Han Solo. So
yeah.
It's one of those things where I bet it was probably like pretty revolutionary to have this big like, because after all this shit that starts because of Vietnam ends on the most dour note. They're all in the bar after the funeral, all quiet, and start singing like "America the Beautiful," all in sync, all quietly. The movie just ends. You know,
yeah, that's just one of those, it's like one of those dark movies, and it reminds me of one of those films where people go like, "How the fuck do you really enjoy it?" It's like, I don't know. There's just something about it. Just I love the tone of it. Like I don't find it necessarily sad.
I love the cinematography.
Oh yeah, the cinematography. Well, that poor cinematographer guy passed away too, who shot that movie.
Yeah, speaking more dead people.
God, this is fucking like the death episode. But yeah, just everything about that film, except for the wedding. The wedding scene's like the one part. I mean, like now that like I know that it's gonna get to like the most sweetest fucking scene once that wedding is over, I'm fine with it. But when I was watching that movie, it was literally at that point, because I didn't know anything about that movie. I fucking threw that movie on just like I did like Joy, and it was like, let's just see what the fuck this is all about. Like I didn't even know it was a fucking Vietnam movie. I thought it was a movie about hunting. That's what I literally thought that movie was going to be about.
You just handed the movie to me, saying, Dunigan, you got to watch this movie. Like, what is it exactly? Because I mean, I heard about the movie. I just heard Deer Hunter.
Yeah, you've heard that title your whole life. But
so then I was like, oh, so this is okay, Deer Hunter. Well, what's it about? You just said Robert De Niro with a flamethrower. What? Robert De Niro has a flamethrower. Just get past the wedding. That's all I'm going to tell you. And like, I watched the movie. Like, this is a damn good movie. I'm like, oh, geez, this is like 3 hours long. I know what? I want to surprise me in the least bit. Like, did that movie come out, you say, like 76
late
or 75?
70s, 78 or 79, maybe. 77. Okay. Somewhere around there.
Okay, well, because Star Wars came out, I'm just doing the math, because that came out before after Apocalypse Now. But Apocalypse, I wonder if that came out. I guess that whether this movie came out didn't have nothing to do with Star Wars. Never mind. Anyway,
just be like there was a lightsaber scene in there that was kind of edited out.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox got the rights to that at the time. No, I was all thinking. I was thinking in terms of Apocalypse Now because of Harrison Ford for a second, but I guess this has nothing to do with that really. Anyway, I think that maybe it's one of those movies that at the time it's probably like one of those. It was really recognized by film critics and like people who like at the Oscars, like, oh my god, it's such a bold, brilliant piece. People like, it's shitting on America. Fuck this movie. America's beautiful. God damn it. Fuck this movie up its ass. And then like years later, it gets all this respect from like other people. You know?
No, I could totally see it being one of those movies when it came out. I guess you could almost say, because here's a perfect example of a recent movie that had that same kind of flack, was like the American Sniper one, you know? Because that one had like a mixed thing where some people are like, this movie's fucking awesome. People are like, fuck that movie up, it's fucking American ass. And the stuff is like, and I was just going like, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. What do you got to say bad about Clint Eastwood, huh? What do you say bad about Clint Eastwood?
I didn't see it, I wanted to see it.
Not defending the real story, not defending the Americanness of it, defending the Clint Eastwoodness of it.
So true about America, but Clint Eastwood, he's a goddamn national treasure.
He's above America.
I feel like I didn't see that movie, but
I didn't see it yet either, which I feel bad. I always feel bad when I don't see a Clint Eastwood movie. I don't know what it is. There's like this obligation. I'm like, I should have been there. Like, I'm like, Clint might have needed some new rugs in his house, and I'm not there to help buy them.
He needed a new Colt 45 for his collection.
Exactly. Geez, I'm not doing my civic duty.
He needed a new hoe for his crops for like making his like all natural smoothies.
But I will say at the same time though, whenever it's a Clint Eastwood movie and he's not in it, the chance of me seeing it a lot of times right away is always like, well, you know what would make this movie better? He doesn't have to be the main character, but damn, if he was just in it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel bad asking this, but did he already make his remake of A Star Is Born, or is that still filming? Did that already come out?
I don't think that came out yet. That sometimes some of those movies, though, if they do come out, it's like, well, yeah, it came out, but you know, small theaters that didn't have any press.
I wanted to see Jersey Boys. I'm not big on musicals, but I did want to see that.
I was supposed to watch that not that long ago, and for some reason, like something came up and we didn't go see it yet. So I don't know. I've been wanting to see it too because I'm like, oh, biopic. But you know, once again, it's like those movies that Clint Eastwood does where he just directs them. They're always great. But at the same time, you're like, you know what would make this slightly better? and then you start watching the movie and you go, well, that could have been Clint Eastwood right there. Why not? Like, you know,
well, think about it. He hasn't been in one since Gran Torino.
No, he was in like Trouble with the Curve.
He didn't direct that though.
No, he didn't direct it though.
Yeah,
and I didn't see that one too. I felt bad about not seeing that one.
I know there's a part he cries in. I didn't see the movie, but I know that would be hard to watch because, like we said earlier, he can't cry. He just winces his eyes and dry heaves, which maybe he's got no more tears left to cry. So, you know, you're asking for him to do the impossible. So, you know.
Well, that one that he was in with Meryl Streep, I remember because the thing was like there was a scene where he was supposed to cry, and he said, like, I don't think my fans would want to see me cry.
Well, in Outlaw Josie Wales, it's like the opening, just like... and he like buries his face into the cross, kind of like, I don't want the camera to look at me.
It's almost sadder that way, strangely enough, than him like full on crying. It's just like the dry heaving thing is, you're just like, oh fuck.
It's like the couple of awkward, like, you know, like just standard human emotions that like great actors can't like manage.
Perform.
Perform. Like, you know, Robert De Niro can't cry, neither can Harvey Keitel. They just both
Harvey Keitel can't laugh proper either. It's just like fucking weird.
Ray Liotta can't laugh right. Ray Liotta like had the.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and fucking Goodfellas. Like, da, da.
He just has this like stuck in like this rictus like grin with his mouth wide open. Like, Jesus, take a step back.
I don't know, it's creepy. It's like a fucking scary clown movie or something. I can't take it.
You want to give someone a heart attack? Like, get like a fucking poster of Ray Liotta's face in that scene. Put him in
a room with that scene on loop on like 1,000 screens around him.
You don't even got to do that. Just get a poster, a still of just his face. Make a big poster of it. Put that over your bed. So when you wake up, oh fuck, you know.
It just says Goodfellas on it, like it's supposed to be a regular poster. But no.
But like, what was he saying? And then like, but no, that like, we were going with like American Sniper. Going back to that real quick. That movie, it got like mostly good reviews, but most of the criticism of it came was just like lack of accuracy or something. And plus, apparently, the movie really sympathizes with the guy. When in real life, the guy was somebody who I don't really know how much of this is true, but he was a guy.
You know?
What?
It's like those things like, I wasn't there, you know. I can't
really be 100% on. I really don't know, but the guy apparently is just like, I want to go kill me some Muslims. Mm-hmm. You know, that was like his main reason of going. Now, I don't know if that's true or what's up, but that's, you know, like, I don't know. So
in the movie, it wasn't like it wasn't about a guy who was like, I'm gonna go get me some Muslims. I'm gonna get their heads and bring them back for my boys.
Use them as a goddamn soccer ball, you know, like if they've been
See, because that's what I think of people that mostly go, a lot of times go to wars, because they always say, hey, boy, when I get over there, I'll get some heads and bring them back for you. You know, like, and as a kid, you're like, really? What the fuck? I don't fucking want that. And then then you get older and you get like, wait a second, is he doing it like fucking World War II? It's not fucking World War II anymore, because that's what people used to do back then.
Yeah. Well, that's like one of those things, like one of like on some like article, like some like big news magazine. It was like a poster. There's like a picture of like some, you know, perfect little like, you know, white blonde girl kind of like sitting at her desk of just kind of like, you know, I think she was maybe in late high school, early college, doing paperwork, just, and then just like Jep skull right on her desk, you know, like a gift from a gift from a boyfriend overseas, and just the skeleton sing right like is that no, that's fucking real. That's real. Yeah. That's
what they would do is they would cut off the heads of their enemies and then they'd boil off the flesh and then they'd send the skulls back.
That's my birthright.
Yeah, that's what my grandpappy sent me.
Greatest generation.
Yeah, greatest generation.
No, I'm not trying to shit down. I just know times were different back then.
I guess you could say it this way. I mean, like,
not like every single person did that shit.
It was. This is like your grandpa sitting down and trying to explain to you, like, well, here you go. This is how it is. I could have taken the head, boiled off the flesh, sent it back to you as a nice memento of my time here, or we're gonna just throw all the bodies in a mass grave. You tell me what's better. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The rest of the body went to a mass grave, and
old Kikyo right here is nice and remembered. Was that his name? I don't know. I call him Kikyo and heard it in some Japanese cartoon somewhere.
Scared the living daylights out of me. All kinds of flashing and noises and shit.
Robots and fucking like monsters live in their pockets. I get confused.
But yeah. I like we always had that bit, we never got to it in good old Tuolumne, where like he's just got the Japanese skeleton like in this corner of his room.
Let me clarify real quick. I don't want to come and see like I was trying to be like too like PC or nothing. Let me just clarify real quick on that. It's like I know it was a different time and it was fucking war and shit's up in the air, whatever. It's one of those things you look back on and you just kind of cringe and kind of frown at. But it was the times and you can't really defend it, but at the same time I just know that you're not in that situation. It's kind of easy to judge, But in good old Tuolumne though, there was that situation. There was that part where there's the grandpa who lived on the upper floor. We never saw like it was always be this thing like he'd always be yelling at him from the stairs like you sons of bitches ain't allowed up here, like
and he's like cow and chicken parents were like you just saw like their feet.
And his feet were just like these old man legs with a camo blanket over it with like these these muddy and bloody boots he hasn't taken off since World War II, and he's trying to fight in every war, and he was on house arrest because he wanted to go to Iraq, but they said you're too old, sir, and then he attacked the recruitment officer. So now he's
now he's on house arrest. But then he's just like you'd see like every once in a while we had like an episode where you just saw like mementos of all this stuff upstairs, and he just had like a skeleton of a Japanese like warrior guy that he brought back and all kinds of weird stuff.
And he had in the corner of the room he just had like literally like a skeleton like fully dressed, like he smuggled someone alive with him back overseas, and you see there's like a car battery attached to its nuts, and just like this guy, like it's a Japanese skeleton tied up with like a car battery attached to its nuts, wearing like a fucking rice hat, like because one episode they actually tried to, we never got to animating it due to other things, but there was an episode where they actually, for whatever reason, they had to go up there when he wasn't gone. The only time he'd leave the house was for the Veterans Parade. Only time he'd leave the house, or could leave the house.
Yeah, there's like this one day a year.
And if he saw anybody up there, he just like automatically get like flashbacks to any number of wars. So he's so like, they're coming to get me! It's Jerry! And starts firing at him, even if it's the boys, So he's like, something's not right. He's just rolling around with a gun. You don't see his face, but you just see like the gut-loaded gun or the boots or the wheels just rolling through the thing.
I know that was that period where like I still want to do like the good old Tuolumne, but it is that one where it's like we can animate anything, and then you went, well, okay, there's only enough time to animate one thing at a time.
And it was Grandpa Wilheimer. That was his name.
Yeah,
Grandpa
Wilmenheimer. Well, that's probably a good place to leave off at. Make sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcast cartoons, videos, and more. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. If you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.